guy.
Oh, John?
Half a century ago, the movie MASH emerged as a groundbreaking work in the film industry under the direction of Robert Altman. Despite its success, the film's lead actors, Donald Sutherland and Elliot Goode, engaged in a strenuous effort to remove Altman from his directorial role. This introduction sets the stage to explore the intense behind-the-scenes dynamics that led to such a drastic measure against a director who had just delivered a cinematic revolution. The film MASH, released in 1970, was a significant cinematic achievement that redefined the standards of movie making at its time. Directed by Robert Altman, it was set against the backdrop of the Korean War and followed the operations of a mobile Army surgical hospital. Its narrative was not just about the war, but also about the lives of the surgeons involved in the life-saving procedures amidst the chaos. The film was notable for its blend of humor and serious commentary on the absurdities of war, which resonated with audiences and critics alike. It was this unique approach that distinguished MASH from other war films of its era and contributed to its lasting success. The film's influence extended beyond the big screen, eventually leading to a highly successful television series that continued to explore the themes established by the movie. Robert Altman, at the helm of the 1970 film MASH, brought a fresh perspective to filmmaking with techniques that were unconventional at the time. His style, characterized by a loose narrative structure and overlapping dialogue, was a departure from the more linear and polished Hollywood films of the era. Altman's approach to MASH involved a significant amount of improvisation, allowing actors to bring their own interpretations to the script, which sometimes led to a chaotic but authentic atmosphere on set. This method of directing, while innovative, raised doubts among studio executives and collaborators who were concerned that audiences might not grasp the nuances of the film's Korean War setting or the satirical tone he was aiming for. Despite these concerns, MASH became a critical and commercial success, proving that Altman's unorthodox methods could resonate with viewers and critics alike. The film's success also paved the way for Altman to continue exploring his unique style in subsequent projects, influencing generations of filmmakers who sought to challenge the status quo of cinema. The film MASH, directed by Robert Altman, faced skepticism before its release, but it defied expectations by becoming a massive success. The movie's unique blend of satire and drama resonated with audiences, leading to significant box office earnings. Its popularity was so profound that it led to the creation of a television series, which gained its own dedicated following. The series extended the reach and influence of the MASH brand far beyond the original film's impact. However, Altman himself did not share the enthusiasm for the television adaptation, expressing his lack of interest in the direction the show took compared to his vision for the film.
Who told you that? How do you know that?
During the production of the 1970 film MASH, the studio executives were initially inclined to demand alterations and cuts to the film's content. However, their perspective shifted following a screen test that proved to be highly successful. This pivotal moment allowed director Robert Altman the freedom to maintain his original vision for the film. The screen test, which demonstrated the film's potential and appeal, was instrumental in convincing the executives to relent on their demands, thereby preserving the director's intended narrative and stylistic elements. This instance is a notable example of a filmmaker's creative vision triumphing over studio inclinations, ensuring the film's integrity and authenticity.
That Skyfire, you have got to get him out of our tent. Your tent.
Robert Altman displayed a strong will to direct the film MASH despite facing significant opposition from the producers. His determination was evident as he stepped into the role after other well-known directors, including Stanley Kubrick, had been considered and subsequently declined the project. Altman's persistence paid off, and his direction played a crucial role in the unique style and success of MASH, which became a defining film of his career and a significant work in the landscape of American cinema during the early 1970s. The film's success also helped establish Altman as a director capable of bringing a distinctive vision to the big screen, setting the stage for his future projects. In the 1970 film MASH, director Robert Altman encountered significant casting challenges. The process was particularly difficult for the role of Father Mulcahy. After a thorough search and consideration of various actors, the part was eventually assigned to René Auberjonois. This decision came after evaluating the unique requirements of the character and the dynamic of the ensemble cast. Auberjonois brought a distinctive presence to the role, contributing to the film's overall character development and narrative progression. His portrayal added depth to the ensemble, ensuring that the character of Father Mulcahy was memorable and well integrated into the story. The casting choice was a critical component in the film's success, demonstrating Altman's careful attention to the nuances of his characters and their interactions within the film's setting. The theme song for the 1970 movie MASH, titled Suicide is Painless, has an interesting backstory. It was composed by Johnny Mandel, and the lyrics were written by Mike Altman, the teenage son of the film's director, Robert Altman. Despite his young age, Mike Altman crafted lyrics that deeply resonated with the film's themes. The song's inclusion in the subsequent television series brought him substantial royalties, far surpassing what his father earned from directing the original film. The song's melody and words became closely associated with the film and the TV series, leaving a lasting impression on audiences and becoming a significant part of the franchise's success. In the 1970 film MASH, directed by Robert Altman, the graphic operating room scenes stand out as a significant aspect of the movie's realistic portrayal of the chaos and immediacy of surgical procedures during the Korean War. Initially, these scenes faced the possibility of being removed from the final cut due to their explicit nature. However, they were ultimately included as a result of positive audience reactions during test screenings. The decision to keep these scenes intact was pivotal in conveying the film's raw and unfiltered representation of the medical challenges and the stark realities faced by the characters. The inclusion of such candid depictions of surgery was a bold move for its time, contributing to the film's authenticity and helping to set a new standard for realism in cinema. The audience's feedback played a crucial role in preserving these scenes, which have since become a defining feature of the movie's legacy. In the 1970 film MASH, director Robert Altman made a bold statement against the constraints imposed by studio executives. Faced with persistent interference and demands for adherence to studio policies, Altman chose an unorthodox form of protest. He incorporated a memo from the studio executives that outlined their policies directly into the film. This act of defiance not only highlighted his frustration with the restrictive nature of studio oversight, but also served as a clever means of critiquing the very system that sought to control the creative process. By doing so, Altman turned the tables on the executives, using their own words against them in a public and artistic manner. This move was emblematic of Altman's approach to filmmaking, where he often pushed boundaries and challenged the status quo, setting a precedent for future directors to assert their creative freedom in the face of studio power. In the 1970 film MASH, directed by Robert Altman, the director's sense of creative freedom played a significant role in shaping the movie's distinctive character. Unlike many war films of the era that often portrayed conflict with a solemn tone, Altman's approach was unorthodox. He infused the movie with a sense of irreverence and satire that was unexpected for the genre. This creative latitude allowed Altman to craft a film that stood out among its contemporaries, offering a fresh perspective on the absurdities of war. His ability to navigate the filmmaking process with this freedom resulted in a work that resonated with audiences and critics alike, contributing to its lasting success and recognition as a unique and influential cinematic piece. In the 1970 film MASH, casting decisions were pivotal to its production. James Garner, known for his work in both film and television, was initially in consideration for a significant role. However, it was Donald Sutherland who ultimately secured the part due to his persistent lobbying efforts. This casting choice would prove to be significant as Sutherland's portrayal became one of the defining elements of the film. Additionally, Sally Kellerman faced her own set of challenges during the filming process. To effectively film her nude scene, the production team had to employ various distractions. These measures were necessary to ensure the scene could be completed successfully and with the required sensitivity. The casting choices and challenges faced during the making of MASH were critical in shaping the film's dynamic and the performances that would resonate with audiences.
There's Captain Forrest.
There you go, Red.
Captain Waldowski, our dental officer.
During the production of the 1970 film MASH, actors Donald Sutherland and Elliot Goode experienced significant dissatisfaction with director Robert Altman's approach to filmmaking. Their discontent stemmed from Altman's unconventional directing style, which was perceived as potentially detrimental to the film's success and, by extension, to their professional reputations. The actors' concerns escalated to the extent that they contemplated the drastic measure of seeking Altman's dismissal from the project. They feared that the director's methods could negatively affect the movie's outcome, and consequently their careers in the film industry. Despite these tensions, MASH went on to become a critical and commercial success, with Altman's distinctive style contributing to the film's unique character and enduring popularity.
I thought maybe you could show me around.
Captain, I think if you'll notice the lieutenant's beautiful hand, she is definitely married.
The 1970 film MASH, directed by Robert Altman, which satirizes the medical personnel stationed at a mobile army surgical hospital during the Korean War, faced resistance from the military for its portrayal of the armed forces. The film's critical stance on war and its irreverent take on the military bureaucracy led the military to favor the screening of Patton, a film that was perceived to be more supportive of military leadership and valor. MASH was seen as a film that challenged the traditional views of military honor, discipline, and the glorification of war, presenting a counter-narrative that resonated with the anti-war sentiment prevalent during the Vietnam War era. Despite the military's initial opposition, MASH became a significant cultural phenomenon, reflecting and amplifying the growing skepticism about the role of the United States in Vietnam and the broader questioning of authority figures and institutions. The film's success and its anti-war message contributed to a shift in how war films were made and received in the subsequent years, influencing the genre with its unique blend of humor, drama, and critical perspective on the realities of war. The 1970 film MASH employs a distinctive sound design that aligns with its anti-war sentiment. In a creative departure from typical war films, the sounds of warfare are conspicuously absent. The film's setting in a military hospital during the Korean War might suggest a soundscape filled with the cacophony of battle. However, director Robert Altman chose to subvert this expectation. The only instance where a firearm is discharged is not in combat, but during a football match, signifying a referee's pistol to mark the game's events. This choice serves as a subtle commentary on the nature of war and its representation in media, emphasizing the human stories and daily life over the glorification of conflict. The absence of gunshots in the film's audio track is not just a unique characteristic, but also a deliberate statement on the absurdity of war.
To the war, we're 3 miles from the front line.
Yes, but a man can't really savor his martini with...
The film MASH stands as a classic, a testament to the innovative direction of Robert Altman. Released in 1970, it broke new ground in cinema with its unorthodox narrative style and became a precursor to the widely successful television series of the same name. The movie is set during the Korean War and follows a unit of medical staff in a field hospital, using humor and satire to highlight the absurdities of war and the bureaucracy of the military. The ensemble cast, including Donald Sutherland, Elliot Goode, and Tom Skerritt, delivers performances that blend cynicism with compassion. The film's use of overlapping dialogue and its disregard for conventional plot structure were pioneering, influencing many future filmmakers. MASH was critically acclaimed for its originality and remains significant in film history for its ability to entertain while providing sharp social commentary.
Would you like to share a martini with me?
Martini? I'd love a martini.
Oh, John, give the gentleman a martini.